Have you ever found yourself jolted awake in the middle of the night by a sharp, gripping pain in your calf or foot, wondering why this keeps happening and what you might be doing wrong? If you're over 65, you've likely heard all sorts of "it's just your age" explanations from friends and even well-meaning professionals. But leg cramps aren't always an inevitable consequence of aging. In fact, by understanding a few key factors and making specific, manageable adjustments, many older adults have seen these cramps lessen or even subside within a couple of weeks. That's what we're about to explore together. Practical steps grounded in good sense and preventive care that can offer real relief, a renewed sense of confidence in your body, and a future with fewer interruptions to your daily comfort and sleep. Leg cramps can be debilitating for anyone, but they often feel extra frustrating later in life. You've built years of wisdom, cherished family memories, and personal accomplishments. Yet something as simple as a muscle spasm can suddenly yank your focus away from the activities you love. Whether it's difficulty standing after a cramp strikes or a sense of dread before bed, these painful twinges have a way of overshadowing the joy of daily life. The good news is that, in many cases, they are not set in stone. Certain overlooked habits might be contributing more than you realize, and shifting those habits can lead to a noticeable transformation. Why does it matter to address this issue now? For one, you deserve restful nights and peaceful afternoons without worrying about unexpected discomfort. Beyond relief, improving muscle stability and circulation often leads to better balance, easier mobility, and a greater sense of independence. Think of the sense of freedom you might feel if you no longer flinched every time you flexed your foot or got up from a chair. By taking a little time to explore the factors behind leg cramps, you'll set yourself up for improved well-being in other areas too, from heart health to overall vitality. Over the next few minutes, we'll examine 5 crucial points that often contribute to chronic leg cramps in seniors. Each point challenges some common misconceptions, reveals how subtle changes can bring significant relief, and shows how you can start applying these ideas right away. From hydration habits to gentle strengthening exercises, from nighttime routines to better nutritional strategies, you'll see how small tweaks in these areas can add up to big relief within just 2 weeks. These ideas don't rely on unproven miracles or quick fixes. They come from observations and recommendations commonly shared by preventive care specialists, fitness experts, and older adults who have successfully tackled leg cramps themselves. Before we delve into the specifics, know that everything we're about to discuss should be considered in the context of your unique health circumstances. Checking in with a healthcare provider for individualized advice is always wise, especially if you have any underlying conditions or concerns. Still, countless seniors have discovered that the steps we'll explore can be adapted to different mobility levels, dietary needs, and lifestyles. So if you're ready to trade those sleepless nights and tentative steps for a renewed sense of comfort and vitality, let's jump in. Along the way, feel free to pause, reflect, or share your thoughts, because your insights can help refine these strategies to fit your life even better. Let's begin by examining the first major factor that could be silently contributing to those frustrating leg cramps, and what you can do to address it right now. Have you ever heard that drinking water is the universal cure-all, yet brush the advice aside because it feels too simple to be true? Many seniors do. There's a common misconception that as we get older, our bodies simply adjust to lower fluid intake. In reality, thirst signals can become less reliable with age, which often means we aren't prompted to drink water until we're already headed toward mild dehydration. Mild as it may seem, even slight dehydration can trigger muscle cramps, especially at night when the body's trying to repair and reset. Take Sandra, for example, who's 72 and lives in a retirement community where she's constantly on the go, playing cards, gardening, or strolling around the complex. She often felt a dull ache in her calves throughout the day, sometimes escalating to a full-blown cramp in the evening. Sandra assumed it was just a sign that she was getting old. After all, her friends had similar complaints. One day she mentioned it casually to her granddaughter, a nursing student, who suggested that Sandra start tracking her fluid intake. Much to Sandra's surprise, she realized she was barely drinking 4 cups of water a day, far less than what her body needed. Over the next week, Sandra made a conscious effort to drink a glass of water every couple of hours. She added a slice of lemon or cucumber to make the flavor more appealing and sipped slowly during her card games. By day 4, she noticed her legs felt less tense throughout the afternoon. After about 2 weeks, she found that those severe evening cramps had nearly disappeared. Though this change didn't solve every health concern she had, it tackled a major source of discomfort that had been plaguing her. The transformation was subtle, yet life-changing. The science behind this is relatively straightforward. Proper hydration helps maintain electrolyte balance in the body, ensuring muscles can contract and relax effectively. Even a small imbalance of sodium, potassium, or magnesium, often exacerbated by dehydration, can spark intense cramping. Plus, sufficient fluid intake supports circulation, which is especially important for older adults. While it's true you can overhydrate, that's less common unless you're forcing yourself to drink excessive amounts in a short period. If you want to try this approach, begin by noticing when you typically drink fluids. Is it only at mealtimes? Do you go hours without a sip? Consider setting a gentle reminder, like an alarm on your watch or phone, to encourage a glass of water every 2 hours. You might find adding flavor or using a pretty water bottle makes it more enjoyable. For some, herbal teas or lightly flavored electrolyte drinks can be a nice alternative to plain water, though you should watch for added sugars or artificial sweeteners if those are a concern. The point isn't to force liters of water down your throat, but to consistently supply your body with what it needs. Imagine the relief you'd feel if those sudden spasms just didn't happen as often. You'd likely sleep better, walk more confidently, and worry less about the next cramp. Staying hydrated can lay a solid foundation for the other adjustments we'll discuss. It might seem simple, but simple solutions often turn out to be the most powerful when applied consistently. Keep in mind, it's always good to check with your doctor if you have conditions like congestive heart failure or kidney disease that might require careful fluid management. But for most seniors, a little more intentional hydration can bring surprising benefits. Now, if you're wondering what else might be triggering these painful episodes besides fluid intake, you're not alone. Let's explore a second factor that often sneaks up on older adults: the quality and balance of the nutrients in our diet. Many seniors assume that if they're eating enough calories, they're getting enough nutrients. But calorie intake doesn't necessarily correlate with the vitamins and minerals essential for muscle health. One of the biggest misconceptions is that a single multivitamin can cover all the bases. While a quality supplement may help, it can't fully replace a balanced diet that includes foods rich in potassium, magnesium, and calcium, nutrients heavily involved in muscle function. Consider Richard, a 68-year-old retiree who used to think his morning bowl of cereal, sandwich at lunch, and a piece of steak for dinner provided everything his body needed. He's not a big fan of fruits and vegetables, so he'd occasionally nibble on a banana or an apple, but never made them a daily habit. Over time, Richard noticed an uptick in nighttime leg cramps that cut into his sleep. He was frustrated, but a routine blood test showed nothing alarming. His doctor casually suggested he try boosting potassium and magnesium. Skeptical, Richard started adding more dark leafy greens and bananas to his diet. He also replaced his usual salty snacks with a handful of nuts or seeds a few times a week. The results? Within 2 weeks, not only were his cramps far less frequent, but he also felt more energetic. He used to blame aging for his morning sluggishness, yet found himself getting up with a bit more pep. It turned out that subtle deficiencies in crucial minerals contributed both to his cramps and his overall sense of fatigue. Why does this work? Potassium and magnesium help regulate nerve signals and muscle contractions. Calcium plays a supporting role too, while sodium, when consumed in moderation, helps maintain fluid balance. The delicate interplay of these minerals ensures that muscles can relax after contracting. Too little of any one can contribute to cramps. Conversely, too much of one, especially sodium, can throw the others off balance, which also leads to trouble. If you'd like to adopt this approach, you don't need a dramatic dietary overhaul. Start by gradually adding an extra serving of fruits or vegetables to each meal. Banana slices with breakfast, a side of steamed spinach at lunch, some roasted vegetables or a small salad at dinner. These additions can quickly boost your intake of muscle-friendly nutrients. You could also enjoy a snack of Greek yogurt or cottage cheese for an extra dose of calcium. The key is consistency, not perfection. Aim for variety in colors and textures to ensure a wider range of vitamins and minerals. If you're taking certain medications, especially diuretics or blood pressure meds, consult your doctor about safe ways to adjust your nutrient intake. Some medications can cause your body to lose potassium or affect how you process electrolytes. Being mindful of the potential impact of medication is essential, and you'll want to share any dietary changes with your healthcare team. Remember, feeding your muscles the right nutrients is like giving a tired traveler a comfortable place to rest. When your body gets what it truly needs, it can function more smoothly, with fewer unwelcome surprises like leg cramps. If you've ever been hesitant about fussing with your diet, think of it as an act of self-care that'll help you continue enjoying the activities you love, whether that's gardening, strolling with friends, or keeping up with grandchildren. At this point, we've explored hydration and nutrition. In many cases, addressing these two factors alone can bring about significant relief. Yet, what if you're doing both and still waking up with those sharp pains? That's where our third factor steps in. Let's pause for a moment. Do you have any experiences or thoughts on what we've covered so far? Sometimes sharing a personal story or a quick reflection can help make these strategies feel more doable. Moving on, many older adults believe they should steer clear of exercises that might stress their legs, especially if they've been battling discomfort. But ironically, inactivity can make leg cramps more frequent, not less. When muscles become deconditioned, even everyday movements can trigger spasms. This leads many seniors to a downward spiral. Pain leads to less movement, which leads to weaker muscles, which can then lead to more pain. Consider Glenn, a 75-year-old who used to pride himself on walking a couple of miles each day. After a minor knee injury, Glenn was advised by friends to take it easy, so he did. Gradually, his daily walk shrank to an occasional half mile. Before long, Glenn found himself dealing with nightly calf cramps that left him limping the next day. He worried he might never regain his former stamina. Everything changed when a physical therapist showed him a basic calf strengthening routine. Gentle seated calf raises, standing heel-to-toe stretches with support, and light ankle rotations. Each exercise took just a few minutes, which Glenn did 2 or 3 times a day. The first few days were uncomfortable, but as the weeks went on, his cramps began to subside, and he regained some of the muscle tone he'd lost. By the end of the second week, Glenn noticed fewer nighttime disturbances. He felt steadier on his feet overall and discovered that light exercise, done carefully, was actually a form of relief rather than an added stress. What's the explanation? Routine, gentle exercise keeps muscles active and increases blood flow. It ensures your legs are strong enough to handle daily tasks without going into spasm mode from minor exertion. Think of your muscles like rubber bands. They should be flexible but firm. If they remain unused, they lose elasticity and can snap under the slightest tension. For those unsure where to begin, start with something manageable. If standing exercises feel too challenging, you could try seated heel raises or straightening one leg at a time while sitting, then flexing your foot. If you can stand, hold on to a stable surface and perform slow calf raises, or place your hands against a wall and do a gentle calf stretch. Aim for consistency over intensity. 5 to 10 minutes of daily targeted stretches and strength moves can make a real impact over time. If you have severe mobility issues, a consultation with a physical therapist can offer tailored movements that suit your specific needs. Of course, if you experience significant pain or have other health conditions, it's wise to seek medical advice before beginning any new exercise regimen. But remember, you don't need to strive for feats of athleticism. A modest amount of movement can help stave off the stiffness and deconditioning that often contribute to persistent cramping. By now, you've heard about hydrating, nourishing, and gently exercising your muscles. Let's move to a fourth point that's frequently overlooked: the role of daily routines and sleep hygiene in muscle relaxation. Have you ever heard the phrase, "sleep is nature's nurse"? Quality rest is crucial for muscle repair, but many seniors struggle to get consistent, deep sleep, either because of leg cramps themselves or other age-related sleep disruptions. A big misconception is that sleeping habits simply become worse with age, and there's no way around it. While it's true our sleep patterns can shift over time, there are concrete steps that can help break the cycle of cramps and sleeplessness. Look at Irene, who's 79 and shares a small apartment with her sister. For years, Irene endured a nightly ritual of cramps striking just as she was drifting off. She'd jump out of bed, pace her room for relief, then spend hours wide awake, anxious about the next spasm. After discussing her problem with a community health counselor, Irene realized her late-night coffee and daily lack of a wind-down routine might be exacerbating her muscle tension. She began replacing her evening coffee with a soothing herbal tea and created a short, calming bedtime practice. 10 minutes of gentle leg stretches, a few slow breaths while lying in bed, and a warm heating pad on her calves for a couple of minutes to loosen tight muscles. This nightly ritual signaled her body to relax, and within a week, she was falling asleep faster. By the 2-week mark, her cramps had diminished both in frequency and severity. The science behind a bedtime ritual is partly psychological. Consistent routines help the brain recognize it's time to transition into rest mode, which can reduce stress hormones that may contribute to muscle tension. Physically, gentle stretching promotes blood flow and helps relax tight tissues. Adding a warm compress or even a short warm bath can be particularly effective in encouraging muscles to let go of tension. If you're not a tea drinker, any beverage without caffeine or excessive sugar can serve the same ritualistic purpose. The point is to avoid stimulants and create a consistent wind-down window. If you suffer from restless legs or occasional cramps at night, experiment with a short pre-bed stretch. Something as simple as standing near a wall, placing one foot behind you and leaning forward can target your calves. A seated forward bend with a towel around the bottom of your foot can also gently stretch the calf and hamstring. The key is to do it slowly, holding each stretch for 15 to 30 seconds without bouncing. Couple this with an environment conducive to sleep, a cool, dark room without unnecessary noise or bright lights. Turn off electronic screens at least 30 minutes before bedtime if possible. These steps not only help curb cramping, but also promote deeper, more restorative rest. Better sleep, in turn, accelerates healing and reduces stress, which can further diminish muscle spasms. Take a moment to reflect. Which part of your daily routine could you adjust to support better sleep and more relaxed muscles? Sometimes even the smallest tweak, done consistently, can generate remarkable shifts in well-being. Before we move on, consider sharing any sleep tips that have worked for you. Collective wisdom often reveals creative solutions that can benefit everyone. Finally, let's address a fifth area that's critical, yet often shrouded in misconceptions: the role of certain medications and hidden triggers that might be worsening or prolonging leg cramps. It's easy to overlook the effect that medications or medication interactions can have on leg muscles. One common misconception is that if you've been on the same prescriptions for years, they're not causing side effects anymore. However, our bodies and medication regimens can evolve, and new side effects can surface even if nothing else has changed. Take Paul, who's 74 and has been on a diuretic for his blood pressure for over a decade. At first, he tolerated the medication well, but as he aged, the diuretic began depleting his potassium levels more significantly, something neither he nor his doctor initially noticed. Paul started experiencing regular calf cramps. He assumed these were an inevitable part of aging until a new nurse practitioner looked at his labs and saw a pattern of low potassium. They discussed dietary changes and adjusted his medication schedule slightly. Within weeks, Paul's cramps reduced dramatically. Another overlooked factor can be less obvious triggers like excessive alcohol, high intake of certain sugary or caffeinated drinks, or even wearing overly tight socks that restrict circulation. Sometimes underlying conditions like peripheral artery disease or nerve compression can contribute as well. The point is that if you've tackled hydration, nutrition, exercise, and a consistent bedtime routine without relief, it might be time to consider other hidden elements in your lifestyle or medical profile. How can you approach this? The first step is awareness. If you're on multiple medications, especially those for blood pressure, cholesterol, or fluid retention, ask your doctor if they might be affecting electrolyte balance. Keep a simple log of your daily activities, food intake, and any leg cramps, noting their time of day and severity. Patterns might emerge that point to a particular trigger. This kind of record can be hugely valuable when speaking with a healthcare provider. If you discover that, for instance, a certain afternoon snack or beverage precedes your cramps, you could try eliminating or reducing it for a week to see if there's any improvement. Maybe you'll notice that wearing compression socks all day without break causes tightness in your calves, suggesting you need a different size or a less restrictive garment. Or perhaps you'll confirm a medication adjustment is necessary. The emotional benefit of uncovering hidden triggers is profound. Many seniors feel a sense of powerlessness and frustration when they don't understand why their body seems to betray them at random times. By pinpointing the source, you can reclaim a measure of control over your health. This shift in mindset often translates into improved overall well-being, as you learn that not every discomfort is simply due to getting older. So there you have it, 5 interconnected points that can drastically reduce or even eliminate persistent leg cramps, often in as little as 2 weeks. You've seen how proper hydration, balanced nutrition, gentle yet consistent exercise, a calming bedtime routine, and careful attention to medications and hidden triggers can create a synergy that restores ease to your muscles. Each of these steps may seem small on its own, but together they form a powerful approach that respects your body's needs and abilities. Let's take a moment to recap and imagine the brighter possibilities ahead. By increasing your fluid intake, you help prevent cramps fueled by dehydration. Nourishing your body with the right balance of minerals supports muscle function. Gentle exercise builds resilience in your legs, enabling them to handle daily tasks without going into spasm. A thoughtful bedtime routine can lower stress, ease tension, and encourage deeper rest, which further supports overall recovery. And finally, understanding and managing medication, side effects, and hidden triggers ensures you're not unintentionally contributing to the cycle of discomfort. If you're feeling the spark of hope, that's exactly what we're aiming for. There's a natural urgency in wanting to alleviate pain, especially when it disrupts something as vital as restful sleep. Yet this urgency shouldn't be rooted in panic, but rather in the recognition that life is too precious to be spent in preventable discomfort. Even if you start small, those changes can build momentum. You might focus on hydration this week, then add in a daily stretch next week, gradually layering these strategies so they become second nature. Visualize yourself 2 weeks from now, waking up with less tightness, looking forward to a morning walk, or enjoying a light stretch routine without the dread of another debilitating cramp. It's well within reach for many seniors, and the sense of renewed control over your body can be incredibly empowering. Remember, if any single suggestion doesn't resonate or feels too challenging, there are always modifications. You don't have to be a perfect eater or a fitness buff to benefit from these ideas. Tailor them to your comfort level and health situation, and always keep communication open with your healthcare providers. At this point, you might be wondering, what do I do next? First, choose 1 or 2 tips that feel the easiest to implement, like sipping an extra glass of water or doing a short stretch before bed, and start there. Notice how your body responds. If you're comfortable, add another step, such as tracking your nutrient intake or reducing your late-night caffeine. If you suspect your medications are involved, bring it up at your next doctor's appointment. Taking action, however small, moves you forward. If you found this discussion helpful, you could share it with friends or family members who might be experiencing similar issues. Sometimes tackling health challenges as a community or pair makes it more fun and less overwhelming. You might even start a hydration challenge with a friend or trade new healthy recipes. And if you feel inspired to learn more, look into local senior wellness classes or community health programs that focus on safe exercise or nutrition guidance. Above all, know that your body possesses remarkable resilience, no matter your age. You've accumulated decades of experience, and each day is an opportunity to apply that wisdom toward your well-being. By respecting your body's changing needs, you're not just fighting off leg cramps. You're nurturing the vitality and independence that allow you to keep enjoying the people, places, and activities you love.